Once was a land of woe and strife, where the people were bereft of hope. They prayed to their gods of might and light to deliver the heroes of old. Instead they got heroes. Did you hear the quotes in my voice of moral ambiguity? They may help or may not help you at all. Depends on what's in it for them. They kick and they punch and they maul and they smash. They lie and they scheme and they burn and they slash. Succeed or fail, it adds to the tale. Dungeons and Debacle starts now. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Dungeons and Debacles podcast. I am your host and dungeon master, Kevin. Going around the table, Hannah.
I'm Hannah, and I'll be playing Talia, the human rogue.
And Blake.
I'm Blake, and I'll be playing Juliet, the Dragonborn eldritch knight / wizard.
And Shane.
I'm Shane, playing Alexander, the human bard.
And John.
I feel attacked for having been chosen last, but I'm John, and I'm playing Alunodas, Elven monk. Evil.
I'm sorry you feel attacked.
You're not sorry. Don't lie.
I'm not. I'm really not. All right, so the last time on Dungeons and Debacles podcast, you found yourselves in the town of Ashmarsh after traveling through the forest between Mount Sunder and the city. You entered the city and proceeded to stock up on some goods for your long trip to Feydale. In that process, you noticed that there were throngs of people that were moving towards the town center. Later on, Nifron and Alexander made their way to see what was going on, and turns out it was an execution. You also found out that there is a bounty now for Red Talons, specifically you guys, and also a bounty on trying to find 4 artifacts of the Saviors. So at this point, I think everybody except for Shane and Nifron have made their way back to the Laughing Maiden where you were staying, and that's where you find yourselves now.
Lulu, waiting on the other two.
Yeah, so we're going to resolve their stuff first, or are we going to just do our thing at our inn? Sorry.
Shane, what are you doing at this point?
I'm just walking back. I don't think there's anything particular that I was aiming to do from the last time. Went around, checked out the thing, figured out the thing was... I think I've accomplished what I was heading out to do.
Not gonna kill random people to sate your bloodlust? Or your dagger's bloodlust?
I mean, not particularly.
You don't know that.
Should have stolen the execution's kill.
I'm thinking you should experiment with the dagger. See how far it'll go to come back to you. I mean, will it just automatically fly back to your hand, or does it make you do stuff to go get it? Like, what are the limits of this magic dagger? What does it really do?
Whole lot of metagaming going on.
Yeah. And?
Negative inspiration. All right, so we're going to say that Alexander and Nifron, they make it back to the inn. I think at this point, I believe Talia and Juliet and Alunodas said they were making their way back upstairs to their rooms after they were doing whatever that they were doing, and I think Talia had a meal.
Yep, I did.
And she experimented with her coin.
I did.
Okay, so, I'm thinking that we should all report back and make sure we have everything in order.
So you're going to go around and knock on
room?
everyone? Yeah, I figured you were going to go knock on everyone's doors and bring us all together. Unless you're just hoping that we all sort of randomly decide to, report.
So we'll say that happens, and everybody gathers back in Nifron's room.
Okay, so do we have a ride secured? Talia.
We do. It's just going to get us across the river, but that was the best I could find. We have to get there first thing in the morning tomorrow.
Okay, supplies.
I picked up a whole bunch of oats for the horses and trail rations for ourselves. Enough for, several weeks of walking, because I figured, go for the worst case scenario.
Okay, excellent. I bought and sold a whole bunch of stuff, Talia. I only was able to find 2 leather strap things you could use, but it's better than none.
That'll be fine for now. I really need to find something for my boot.
For your boob?
Boot.
Oh,
Boot.
okay.
Dude, she's only 12. Don't sexualize her.
You're getting me titillated.
I mean, cleavage knives were a thing, but I don't think she has the cleavage necessary to pull that off.
Let's
just
not
yet.
talk about a 12-year-old girl's cleavage. Let's move on, please.
Knives are for making cleavage, technically.
That checks
They
out.
cleave things.
Yeah, the math checks out.
Okay, great. We have everything all together. Does anybody have anything else they need to do in the city?
No?
Alexander, are you going to say anything to anyone about what you discovered at the town center?
Yeah, I guess. Let's, for in character, my dude's gonna tell them, hey guys, so I went down with good old Nifron over here, our family friend, and we figured out what was going on at the church. Apparently they were hanging red talons. They have a huge bounty out on us and any other red talons that they find.
Well, I suppose that was to be expected with the companions after us.
And Nifron's going to pipe in, but what isn't expected is apparently now they have a bounty out on 4 of the artifacts.
Oh, good point. That means we're going to be competing with adventurers.
Yes, adventurers and the Vanguard.
Oh, that's just annoying.
I don't see much of a problem with that.
It means they'll be getting in our way, cluttering things up, and possibly getting to the artifacts before us.
Yes, but if we catch them while they're getting the artifact, they could save us a lot of trouble.
True, they might remove some of the obstacles.
Yes, but Suel is a large place, and we can't count on getting there at the same time as all these other adventurers, much less the Vanguard.
Well, we do have a large organization at our disposal. Maybe we could dispatch scouts to the locations that we're aware of, have them watch, not necessarily go after the artifacts.
Nifron's going to look to his left and look to his right, and then he's going to stand up and look underneath him and say, do you see any scouts that we can send out?
Not here, but once we get to Feydale, we'll be close enough to my monastery that we might be able to send out word to the larger organization. The Red Talons are located all across Suel, are they not?
Yes, and that's a great idea.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
I'm not.
Okay, then.
Have you been in touch with your monastery recently?
I have not, but we are on our way to Feydale, aren't we?
Yes, we would probably beat any letter there.
There you go.
Perhaps you could ask the figurine a question. Is the monastery safe or something like that?
Good idea. Alexander, it's in your magic bag, yes?
Yeah, I will. Actually, doesn't Julia have my
I
bag?
have it, yeah. I will hand you the statue from out of the bag.
I shake it a bit and turn it upside down and say, has my monastery been discovered?
I don't believe... When's the last time you used this? I don't believe it's been over 24 hours yet, has it?
Oh, that's a good question.
Wait,
When
what?
did we use it?
Didn't we rest? Wasn't the last time we used it with Juliet's parents?
Yes, was that before or after you slept?
That was
I don't think
before.
we've slept
Way
since the
before.
cave, so...
We
yeah,
did,
probably
remember?
needs
We
to
camped out.
start.
Yeah, we camped out and
Did we?
I tried to overhear a conversation.
All right. Yeah, that was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but I don't remember if that was before or after you slept. We'll say
Yeah,
it was
did you-
before.
All right.
So, ask your question.
Has my monastery been discovered by the Vanguard?
So you ask your question, and those purplish grayish clouds appear on the surface of the black sphere on top of this silver elven statue, and they form the words no.
Okay. So once we get to Feydale, we can start trying to make contact. I may have to separate from you for It's rather remote. Or you can come with me.
Joy, trekking through mountains and cold. I've always dreamed of that.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
Oh, I am being sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
Apparently sarcasm is lost on Alunodas today. Maybe you should just start doing inside checks to see if somebody's being sarcastic to you.
Now who's metagaming?
Yeah. Okay, so, does anybody have any other business in the city?
Let's see. Talia was going after a trip, or a boat. I was going after food. What were you going after, Juliet? Oh,
I
selling
just had some
things.
personal items.
So you picked up some cash. Good for you.
Are you keeping all those healing potions to yourself?
Oh, no, I should distribute those. Okay,
That'll be
so
helpful. I tend to fall down.
I did buy some healing potions. I have 3 of them. One is a greater healing potion, the other 2 are lessers. The greater is Berry Blast, and the other 2 are Arctic Chill flavored.
I'm assuming you wrote that down and didn't just remember it.
It is written down.
Arctic chill sounds gross.
I'll take Arctic Chill. I'm used to the Arctic Chill. I'm on the stairs way up north.
Sounds good. I am pretty tough myself. Maybe Talia and Alexander, you want to take the other 2?
Yeah. I'm usually not one to be in the way of danger, as I can, but I will take them just in case.
I'd love to take whatever one was very blast.
I think Alunodas wanted that one. Oh no, wait.
No, I took Arctic Chill.
Oh yeah, you did. Okay, so you got a lesser healing potion. Talia, you will get the greater healing potion.
Sweet.
Yeah, our damage dealer should always be on her feet.
Yep.
All right, so around this time, it's probably about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Is there anything else anyone wants to do? Are you settling down for the night, or what are you doing?
Juliet is going to begin writing. With all that magic ink, she's going to be copying down some of the spells to her spell book from the file of insight books.
All right, so let's say over the next 4 or 5 hours, you're going to be copying some spells. Which spells are you going to be copying over? Like what level?
They're going to be level 2 spells.
Okay. So if you're copying level 2 spells, I'll say you'll be able to...
It takes 4 hours apiece. So I have 6 level 2 spells, and so that means I can only describe 1 spell, but I know which one. It's going to be darkness, so...
Okay, give me a Arcana check.
Sure. 15.
So, not in the most elegant of handwriting, but still passable to where you can understand it. You have no trouble, like, spending, probably an hour reading through this and getting a really good idea of how the spell works. And then you're going to spend that rest of that time writing the spell into your book, and now you have it.
Fantastic.
All right. Talia, you want to spend any time with Abbott tonight?
Yeah, let me go back down there and see if I can do some training.
Okay, so we'll say that you'll have time to work on maybe 1 command tonight.
Alright, we'll do quiet.
Okay, give me an animal handling check.
19.
All right, so over the course of about 3 hours and some multiple table scraps, Abbott has gotten the hang of you saying quiet and him not barking.
Sweet.
So now that is something he can do. So around this time...
Abbott crawling around on the ground, being all sneaky.
So around this time, it is probably 7:30, and it's starting to get dusk. And Talia, after you finished up with your training, you're heading out of the stables where you're keeping Abbott because they won't allow him in the inn. You're going to walk around to the side of the building, and you're going to hear some shouting.
Okay.
We'll say you round the corner, and you're going to see out in the street across from the inn, there's a marketplace, and out on the street, you're going to see about 5 people, most of them human and a half-elf, that appear to be like in their late teens, yelling at a red dragonborn and a girl out on the street.
That's weird.
And then you're going to see one of the larger boys take his fist and is going to punch this dragonborn in the face. And you're going to hear him scream, "You're Juliet, aren't you? Admit it. You're a red talon." And the dragonborn's going to say, No, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not Juliet." And then the larger teen who's yelling that is going to punch the dragonborn again and kick her as she's on the ground. And then you're going to see some of the other boys grab a hold of the small girl and like hold her back. And then you're going to hear some people, crowds kind of gathering now, and you're going to hear somebody yell, "Call for the god!"
So, I'm a terrible person. I'm going to turn into a bat and fly up to our window.
I don't think it's getting towards dusk now. I don't know that it's dark enough for that.
It says dim light, but I don't know
It just
what
says
dim
right
means.
dim-ish.
I think dim is very clearly defined. It's obvious.
Okay, I'll allow
Take
it.
one look at it.
So, are you just going to turn into a bat out here on the street?
No, I'll head back into the stables and try to find somewhere like by Abbott where it's quiet and nobody's gonna see me. I'm not just gonna be like, "And I'm a bat," and have all of that attention on me.
All right, give me a perception check.
14?
All right, you're going to see at least one stable hand who apparently is brushing down one of the horses in the stables right now. Doesn't look like he's paying a lot of attention.
Alright, I'll just see if I can get out of his line of sight, like head, towards one of our horses maybe, and then turn into a bat. I don't know how this works.
Give me a stealth check.
15.
So does she do like a magical girl transformation, like a twirl and like lighting up,
Absolutely. Well, not lighting up, but 100% I'll be like, "And I'm a bat."
Hopefully
and,
without the
like,
flame
twirl
brush.
my cloak.
All
Yeah.
right,
Danny Phantom transformation.
so you start walking over towards one of the horses, and you're keeping an eye on the stable hand to see if this boy notices you, and it doesn't appear that he notices you.
Awesome. So yeah, I'll go ahead and try and fly up to our rooms. I believe I keep my intelligence, so I should be able to find it.
You grab the edges of this cloak, and you polymorph into a bat, and you fly up to the room where you think you're staying, and you fly towards the window, and you hit the glass.
Nice.
Can I go ahead and hang from the top of the, I don't know what it's called.
The sill.
Not like the sill, the part above the, the part of the window frame, the upper part of the window frame. I don't know how much it hangs over. That's the question. 'Cause some of them are flush, some windows are inset.
So we'll say that you're like hanging from the soffit outside.
Yeah. Can I look into the room and make sure that I'm at the right one before I try to make any noise to get someone to open the damn window?
Yeah, go ahead, give me a perception check.
7.
You look in, and you're not seeing anyone in the room.
Cool. I'll just hang out here for a bit.
Around this time, everybody else give me a perception check.
25. 4.
Perception is 11.
All right, so Alunodas, you're going to hear a ruckus out on the street. and you hear somebody shout, Juliet.
Oh dear. Juliet, have you made any enemies here in town? Well, specifically here in town?
Shh, I'm busy studying. No, I don't think I have. Why?
Because there's something going on the street. Somebody just yelled your name. Might be unrelated to us,
Yeah.
might not.
Juliet will wave her hands and become, once again, a elven female, and shall we go outside and investigate?
I suppose we should.
All right, so Alunodas and Juliet, you're going downstairs.
Yes.
Lulu, just a couple elves. No need to pay attention to us.
Nifron doesn't appear to be interested. Alexander, are you going down or are you staying where you are?
I'll follow along. I'm going to glance through my spells as we go back and follow.
So,
Does Talia see any of this, or was she at completely the wrong window?
she was actually at her room with Juliet, so she's hanging outside of that window. I'm going to say that, Talia, you probably saw Alunodas enter the room, and then Juliet get up and change herself into an elf, and then exit the room.
Damn. I guess I'll wait for them to come back.
So you guys make your way downstairs, and you've noticed that the common room has cleared out of anybody that was in here, except for a couple stragglers who are looking out the window, and someone who's standing in the doorway. Are you making your way outside?
I would like to stay by the doorway and just try and overhear what's going on.
Okay.
I'll join Alexander at the door.
So you look outside, and there's some guards that have started to show up on the scene, and there's a large crowd that's gathered, and in the center of this crowd you see these teens, and then this red Dragonborn and a little girl that's there, and the guards are saying, "What goes on here now?" And the teen says, "I got him. I got the red talons. I got Juliet, and I got that little girl Talia." And you're going to hear the little girl pipe up, "I've never seen this Dragonborn in my life. I don't know what you're talking about." And then the Dragonborn's going to say, "And I'm not even a female." And then the teen's going to say, "But no, this has to be them. I saw them together. They were conspiring outside this marketplace." And the guards are going to give these two a once-over. The captain of this guard currently is going to look at the teen and says, "Can you not tell the difference between a female and a male Dragonborn?" And the Dragonborn's going to pipe up, "Yeah, that's racist." And then the teen's going to start looking kind of ashamed, and the guard's going to look at the Dragonborn and the little girl and say, "Do you want to press charges against this lot?" The little girl's going to say, "I just want my mommy." And about that time, you're going to see a human woman come working her way through the crowd, yelling, "My girl, my girl!" And you're going to see the teens that were holding the girl let go of her, and she goes running to her mom. And the red Dragonborn is going to say, "Yes, I want to press assault charges against the lot of them." Guard's going to say, "Seize them." And they grab this group of about 6 teens and start moving them along. And you're going to hear the captain say, "Okay, break it up. There's nothing else to see here. Move along, and don't get wrapped up in the hysteria in this town. I won't put up with a riot."
The Vanguard really should have seen this coming. This is obviously what was going to happen when they put up a reward for such a poor description.
Yes, well, I think the people they described are a bit more beautiful than the ones that they happen to find today.
I guess so.
Are you two saying this out loud to each other inside the common
I
room?
am. Yeah.
Sure.
So there's going to be a half-elf that turns to you and says, "Yeah, I agree with the whole hysteria thing, but beautiful? What's that all about?"
Yeah, what's that about?
Oh, I've heard that female Dragonborn are very beautiful looking, and that male Dragonborn did not look like it.
Maybe to a half-orc.
Juliet is just gonna give Alexander the worst look.
I suppose Alexander earned that, but...
sorry, Alunodas.
Anyway, this has nothing to do with us. I say we go back upstairs and get some sleep.
Yes, well, I suppose that's enough action for one day.
I guess everybody makes their way back upstairs. Alexander, you hanging out on the street, or are you walking back up?
I'll walk back up, lightly chuckling about the interaction between Alunodas and Juliet.
So you walk upstairs, and Nifron's hanging out in the hallway by his door, and sees you walk up, and says, "What was all that all about?"
Mob got riled up by the companions, started grabbing random people that matched the description. Almost. Well, barely.
Huh. Let's make sure we're not random people.
That's what our disguises are for.
Wait a minute,
Yes?
Oh, never mind. I was just wondering if you would be safe out there, Alunodas.
Maybe I should shave my head or change my hair color.
And Nifron says, it's not a bad idea.
Got any inks or anything that could change my hair color to a nice dark black or something like that, Juliet?
If you want it to be stained that way for a very long time, yes, I have some inks. Non-magical ones, that's regular ink.
Alright, then let's do that. Give me a nice midnight wash.
Maybe a man in petty, too.
Are they in the room, or, like...
They're out in the hallway right now.
But you've got ears like a bat.
I do. I can hear you, but I can almost guarantee you're not going to hear me if I start squeaking and flapping and trying to make noise. At least I assume I can hear you because I have bad ears.
Give me a perception check.
20.
Oh yeah, you heard everything that just happened. Even though you're not looking at them, and they're not even at the same room where you are.
I guess I'll wait to see where they go.
Your room or mine, Alunodas.
Let's go back to yours. You probably have all the girly stuff necessary. All I know is my hair.
Yep, so Juliet is going to mix together a concoction of water and ink to make a kind of dye that will not only stick to the skin, but it will also stick to his hair. So,
you turn
I'm
him
hoping
into a
the
drought.
staining goes well.
I was looking for a hair rinse, not a skin rinse.
Well, I mean, it's gonna get everywhere.
I'm gonna start, literally squeaking as loud as I can and flapping my wings.
Okay, Alunodas and Juliet, give me a perception check.
19.
Ooh, 19 for both of us.
Okay, so you're going to hear this squeaking outside your window, and at this point it has started to get dark. But you look out, and the candlelight, the lamplight inside this room really doesn't get much outside the window, so you're just hearing a squeaking.
I'm going to open the window. Need a strength check?
No.
I'll fly in and turn back into me.
Is that a matter of choice, or is it too bright in the room for you to stay at bat?
I was actually reading it. I don't think...
You don't need to stay in the shadows to remain a bat.
Yeah, while you're in this, you can... I have to be in the shadows to be to turn into a bat, but I don't have to stay in the shadows to be a bat. At least that's how the info thing reads.
I was kind of hoping you fly into the light and just suddenly transform back into a girl in midair and fall to the floor.
Holy shit!
Ka-thump.
Talia flies in through the window and turns back into herself in the room. And I'm assuming at this point, Juliet has got her fingers in Alunodas's mousy, long locks.
More auburn than mousy.
Details, schmeetails.
And for someone who's shipping these two, you're like, ha.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually gonna say, should I leave the room?
Why?
I feel like I'm interrupting something.
Just
And I'm gonna
dyeing
smile
my
really
hair.
wide.
Make an insight
Alunodas
check
doesn't
here.
understand at all.
Natural 20, okay.
So Juliet gets your meeting.
Well, if Juliet could blush, she certainly would, but she's already red, so... Well, I guess she's in disguise self, so that would work. Juliet will certainly take on that blush. Talia, it's not like that. It really isn't. Not at all.
Not like what?
I don't think that you have to leave at all.
Oh, yeah. What? Yeah. What?
Are you sure? Because I can. It's not a problem.
No. In fact, it'd be better if you stay here.
Really?
Does she need to learn how to dye hair? That actually might help. That would help her as a thief, probably. Yeah, you should stay. Learn how to dye hair.
Yes. I am not here to fool around with Alunodas. We're here to dye his hair.
I mean, if you insist, I'll stay, but, if you need me to leave the room and I'm gonna kind of, like, air nudge her with my elbow, I can do that.
Meanwhile, her claws and scales are getting all tangled up in the hair.
Yeah. I don't think that'll be necessary. We're just dyeing hair here. There's nothing more to it. Really.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna go sit on the back.
Around this time, you're going to look around, and Nifron is standing in the doorway, like leaning up against one of the frames with his legs crossed, cutting up an apple and eating it, and just looks at you, says, "Awkward." And then he's going to turn around and walk out.
I'm not awkward, you're awkward. I'm gonna yell after him.
Juliet, give me a... What would this be? If you're trying to create a disguise for somebody by dyeing their hair, how good of a job they do.
Well, I guess normally to disguise yourself, it would be some kind of charisma check, right? So if I was doing it, it'd be a charisma check for me with him.
I'll say either charisma
Medicine?
or intelligence.
Well, I'll go for intelligence.
I was thinking maybe it's a performance check.
Nature, medicine, because you're doing natural stuff with the hair.
This isn't natural stuff to hair.
It's definitely
Animal handling.
unnatural.
There we go.
I'll let you do a intelligence check.
All right. Okay, there. I could have rolled worse. I have rolled worse.
So that's a 14. We'll say that for the most part, you get it pretty evenly distributed through the hair. It doesn't look extremely natural, and there's like a couple of spots around Alunodas's elf ears where the ink has transferred over. But if you wanted to do something like prestidigitation, you could probably clean that up.
Oh, that's a good point. I will certainly do that.
All right, so you cast that spell, and you get rid of a lot of the stray ink on his skin, and he looks passable. At least from if you weren't like right up on him.
Which, of course, Talia would want.
So, look in the mirror. How does it look?
Dang it, try to do a perception check. 15. I noticed, some remaining blemishes, but I think they'll pass under most scrutiny. I think it looks good.
Can I pipe up?
Absolutely.
Should I also do a perception check?
Yeah, you can.
20.
20. So you don't think that like somebody could be face to face with him and think that his hair looks natural, but at a glance, or if he had his hood up, or if you were a couple feet away from you, you would just think that he had really dark hair. But if you got up really close, you could see like where the ink has stained his scalp underneath the hair, which doesn't look incredibly natural.
I'll mention what I noticed.
Everybody's a critic.
Oh, like I said, I won't really be able to get that out.
Well, this is kind of a temporary measure. My hair will continue to grow, and I may have to start shaving my head.
Why didn't you just start with shaving your head?
Because I don't want to shave my head. It's really hard. It takes a lot of work.
And you gotta keep up with it.
This will last for a week or two, and then I can decide what to do then.
Alright. Does anybody else want to do anything tonight?
I
think I'm good.
think so.
Alunodas is tempted to go, burn something down to get revenge for the red talons they killed, but doesn't feel motivated enough to risk breaking his cover.
Alright, so you lie in your bed that night and stew about it. But you're like, nah, I could go do this, but I really shouldn't. But I really want to. I really shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But you're able to control yourself.
With difficulty, because I like killing people and burning things down. A little bit too much.
So we'll say the next morning comes, and light starts filtering in through your windows, and you guys get up and maybe go downstairs and grab something to eat. Is everybody recasting your disguises?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, mark those off your spell sheets. So, are you headed out to the docks? What are you doing?
Yeah, we need to get to the docks, guys. He said he wouldn't wait for us.
And it's now first light, so let's hit the road.
Yep.
Gonna grab some bananas from the continental breakfast on the way out the door.
Okay. And then Nifron goes up to the bartender and settles up, and you see him hand Marcus some gold coin. And then you head out to the stables and grab your horses and Abbott in the cart. And Nifron's gonna tip the stable hand the gold coin. And you guys make it out to the docks. Around this time, you're already seeing some boats moving across the river here. Talia, you are going to see the boats in the dockhand that you spoke to earlier yesterday evening.
Okay, I will kind of wave to the party and head over to the boat.
Let's go, Buttercup.
Alright, so you move the horses and the carts over, and the same person that you saw yesterday sees you approach and waves you on. Says, right on time. Is this it?
I believe so, yeah.
Alright. Well, we're moored up here. Go ahead and start moving your carts and your horses on.
I'm hoping they have a derrick handy to take care of the cart and possibly Buttercup.
No, his name's Paul, no Derek. Paul, help move the carts on. This guy looks like he's in his teenage years. Goes over and starts motioning Alunodas to start moving the cart forward.
Okie dokie.
So everybody makes it on to this boat, and looks like most of the room is taken up here. Some of you are leaning up against Alunodas' cart or your horses to make room. You're going to hear the dockhand say, "Okay, let's shove off." You push out into the Black River, and there's some oarsmen on either side who you're like trying to move out of their way as they take their oars to move the boat out onto the river. You notice the current is taking you a couple of feet downriver, and they're fighting against it. But after about 15 minutes out here, you're able to cross and get onto the other side.
I will go up to the person who I was working with, who I talked to before, and give him 30 gold.
Oh, thank you. Safe travels to you.
You as well.
So you guys make it off the cart, and you see that they're starting to reset. They're taking the ropes that they've tied to the docks and the moorings over here on this side. They're taking it off and shoving off with the oars and making their way back across the river. So you've crossed the river, and you're currently in this small village called East Crossing. Hold on, let me bring a map up.
But they're on the west side of the river. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, there's two sides to either river. If you're on the west side, it's the east side, right? All right, can everybody see the map?
Yep.
All right, so where I'm pinging is where you were in Ash Marsh. You are currently over in East Crossing, directly across the river. It looks like a staging area more than a village. It looks to be less than 10 houses here, and they're kind of not ramshackle, but there wasn't a lot of care put into creating these houses. None of them are probably more than 10 by 10, and they're made of wood and have some thatch roofing. There's a large stable to the north of the docks here, and also a big wooden warehouse where you can see that there's some barrels and crates and some other goods that are stored there. And this morning it looks like there's about 5 large boats over on this side loading up with goods to cross the river back over to Ash Marsh. And there's also a small covered pavilion where there appears to be about a dozen people waiting for their goods to be loaded up on these boats and taken over.
So is there a path over the mountains, or are we going to have to go around?
Give me a history check.
20.
So 20. And then Hannah got a 21. So I guess she's heard some things about these mountains. So these mountains are called the Shadow Shear Mountains. It's a large chain that runs basically from the top of the river to the bottom of the river here. You're going to know that there's probably some mountain passes through here, but the largest or the greatest pass that you know of that's most talked about is the pass here to the north, up by or Hollow's Point is what it's called. You know, there's probably some other passes through here that would be quicker, but you're not a mountaineer and you're not that familiar with this area to know where those are, but you could probably really ask around. And then there's always the option of going either all the way up the coast, which might take you a little bit more, a couple more days time, or there's the option of going south, but that would take you back into the desert.
I said we follow the river north, take a pass through the mountains west.
Sounds easy enough.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Let's do it.
All right, so you start making your way out of town. You're going to pass these houses. To your right of this path, over on the side, there's a dwarven man and woman loading up a wagon on the western side of the village. And as you go by, you're just going to see him nod to you. So, as you make your way out of the village, so are you headed north?
Yep. Following the river till we get to the pass.
You head north out of East Crossing, and to your west, you're going to see some rolling hills that turn into these like barren, tall steps, and then these very large mountains to your left. The closer ones appear to be, maybe 1,000 feet tall or so, but in the distance you can see mountains towering over top of those that have snow on their peaks. After about a day of travel, you're going to settle down for the night, camp out. Nothing really happens. Does anybody want to do anything that night?
Playing with
Yes,
Abbott.
I would like to try to train Abbott. I don't remember what we said that he picked up over just our travel.
He almost has stay. He has quiet, and that's about it.
Okay. I will work on stay to try to keep him staying. Like, try to get that, so he knows it.
All right, animal handling check.
15.
For some reason, you're having some trouble with this. It may just be because of his enthusiasm as a puppy. But, he gets it for a second, and then he pops right back up, and then you tell him to stay again, and he gets it for a second, and then he pops right back up. So
Okay.
You don't know if you would trust that if you were in a situation.
Fair enough.
Stay is a tough one.
It really is.
Especially for a puppy. Anybody else want to do anything?
Whoever has those books should start reading them, by the way. The
And
manual
we
of
gave
game
both of them to Alejandro for some reason.
Is Alexander going to use them?
I don't think I merit too much from using them.
What? We gave them to you, though. Well, okay.
I think the bigger
typically
one,
use
the health one,
tables.
yes, but not so much the intelligence one.
As a bard, he focuses on his charisma. I think Hannah or no, Talia or Juliet should use the intelligence one. Metagaming wise. In game, I think it should be Talia, so that she can be awesome
Yes, you need to be taught all your ABCs.
and kill 2 3s.
But you
I
both
mean-
cast spells based on intelligence, right?
Yes, I do cast spells based on intelligence.
So I think you should read that. The manual of gainful exercise, I guess, is going to be for Alexander?
The what?
Constitution book.
Yeah,
It's not a constitution book, it's a strength book.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
I would like the strength book.
That would get rid of your -1 to strength checks.
Sure would.
Alright. You go get those gains then.
I will read my gains.
So you settle down for the night, and you probably only get maybe about a 16th of the way through this book, because you're settling down late. You think it'll probably take you about a week to read it?
Yep.
What about me?
The same.
Okay.
As for the figurine, nobody has any objections. I will ask it about the boots of Feydale. That's what they're called, right?
What are you going to
yes.
ask it about?
Just to make sure they're still located where we think they're located. Are they located in the tomb? Try and prepare before we get to the city and start trying to, steal these powerful art.
Alright, so what is the question you're asking?
Are the boots of Feydale located in the tomb of their creator?
So the clouds swirl again inside the sphere, and it responds, "This is beyond my sight."
I suppose that was to be expected.
Useless GPS.
Turn right at Lilwyn. Turn left at Feydale.
Turn left at the roundabout. Maybe we can figure out what's going on tomorrow.
So you settle down for the night. You take your watches. Everything's uneventful. You get up the next morning, eat your breakfast, and continue on north.
No reason not to.
Okay.
Yep.
So after about the second day, you're going to find yourselves up here where I'm pinging to the right of the Shadowshire Mountains, but you're still following the Black River north. Everybody give me a perception check.
Arcane.
6.
15.
7.
Damn. Critical fail, and you still got a 7. Talia, you are going to see some light smoke up ahead of you on this path.
I will alert my fellow travelers thusly.
You think it's probably about maybe 5 miles ahead of you?
Okay, so I will say, hey guys, in about 5 miles I see smoke.
Do we think it's a campfire? Do we think it's a burning building? Do we think it's a dragon?
What if it's all
I
three?
see smoke.
You don't think it's like a forest fire or anything based on the amount of smoke that you see coming up?
So it doesn't look like a big fire. It looks like a smaller fire.
Well, maybe not anything to be too concerned about. Let's keep on going. Cautiously.
Alright, so you're going to travel for probably another 40 minutes or so. You're going to see, as you get closer, where this smoke's coming from. It appears to be the burned remains of a cart on the left side of the road near the mountains on the path.
Well, that's not good.
Nobody protects these roads anywhere ever. What is the good of civilization, I ask you?
Oh, you're kind of not in civilization right now.
Yeah, we're in
My
random
complaint
encounter land.
My complaint stands.
Okay,
Well,
so
if you paid
everyone
taxes,
be ready.
if you paid more in taxes, maybe they could patrol this.
If they patrolled it, maybe
have
I'd pay
organized
taxes.
healthcare, too. Maybe have organized healthcare too.
All right, are you continuing on?
Yes, unless this cart is salvageable in any way, shape, or form, or has cargo on it.
You'll have to get closer to find out.
Alright, we approach then.
As you get closer, this cart's burned out, and whatever it was carrying is now ash. You're going to see some iron hoops in there that held some barrels and maybe some nails that were holding some planks of some crates together. But what sticks out is as you get closer to the cart, behind it, probably about 10 feet, you're going to see 3 bodies lined up and kneeling on the ground.
On a level of like 1 to dead, how dead are they?
Are you going to go look at them?
I can't look from here?
All you can see right now is kind of the bodies.
Oh, okay, I guess I will approach.
I'll approach with.
They are probably on the scale of, what was it, alive to dead?
1 to dead, yeah.
1 to dead, they're like 11 dead. As you see their bodies, they appear to have been here for a couple days, and the manner of death is pretty obvious. They were beheaded. And you're going to see their heads probably about 2 feet from their bodies as they've kind of rolled down slope a little bit. It appears to be 3 humans. There's a man, a woman, and another woman who appears to be in like her late teens.
So they didn't take the goods off the cart, and they killed the people. Weird.
Give me an investigation check.
12.
Anybody else want to give me one? Alunodas and Alexander are
21.
like, yeah, there's some dead people. Juliet with a 21, Talia at a 14. Okay, so Juliet with a 21, you're kind of fantasy CSIing this thing. To you, it seems pretty obvious that these people were basically lined up and executed and beheaded, and whatever they were carrying in this cart, the cart was just set on fire. It doesn't appear to be like a robbery or trolls or some sort of animal coming out of the hills and killing these people. This seems like it was a pretty methodical execution.
Can I rifle through their pockets?
You can.
I will do so.
Give me an investigation check.
17.
17. So you are going to start going through their pockets, and you are going to find 2 silver wedding rings that were on this older man and older woman. You're going to find a pouch on the man's side that has 40 gold pieces in it, and you're going to find nothing really of value on the teenage daughter, except for like an ivory comb.
Sweet. Oh, does the teenage daughter, what size does she wear?
It's so hard to tell with women's sizes. You know, it's a size 0 for one woman, it's a size 2 for another one, a size 8, a size 12. You know how it is.
I do. It's entirely based on brand, on the brand name. That's why I wear leggings now. But I'm just wondering if she's like a similar size to Talia, or like if her boots would fit me or anything like that.
No, she's much larger than you are.
She'll grow into it.
By the way, it's not fantasy CSI, it's just fantasy sci.
Hey.
I'll go ahead. Does she have a belt on?
She does have a belt on. She is wearing kind of this like light blue linen dress, and she has a wide leather belt with a bronze buckle. It's like one of those loop buckles.
Excellent. I'll go ahead and take the belt.
Okay. Anybody else want to desecrate these bodies?
Nothing for me or my blade to get anything from. Already dead.
Test it out, like everybody walks away, and like you pull out the blade and just like like poke one of them and
Stab
see
it a
what
few
happens.
Okay, well, while everyone else is completely dead inside and is just going to leave the bodies there, Juliet's at least going to push them off to the side of the road so they're not like... You know what? She's going to throw them on the burning wreck of the carriage.
Oh, they're all kind of over to the side of the road. There's nothing really impeding it, the road.
Oh, okay.
So they're like, you know, maybe like 5 or 10 feet off the side of the road.
I love how Juliet's version of not desecrating the bodies is throwing them onto a burning cart.
Well, I mean, we're not going to bury them. That takes way too long.
You could
Yeah,
set
at this
them on
point it's
fire where they
burning.
are.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Wait,
Yeah.
but then it might cause like a fire with the grass or something.
Well, at this point, the cart is just smoldering, and it's kind of collapsed.
Okay, so just kind of smoke the meats. We don't want that. Okay.
With your investigation check, you would probably say that all of this happened maybe like 18 to 24 hours ago.
Okay, so recently-ish.
In the last day. So whoever did it's still around, and we need to keep an eye on it.
Yep. So that means everybody's gonna keep watch. Extra shifts. No, just pay the fucking attention.
Not bandits, not trolls, not wild animals. What the fuck happened here? Ah, well.
Well, Juliet's gonna set them on fire, so at least their bodies are not just kind of hanging out there.
What do we know of any red talents that might be around this area? They might have done it.
That would be a question for Alunodas. Alunodas, give me a history check.
2.
Yeah, Alunodas doesn't know.
What about Nifron?
Nifron's gonna say, "This may come as a surprise to you, but I don't really keep up on the comings of goings of every red talons on this continent."
That is surprising.
So he failed his roll too?
You don't know.
Alright,
Yeah,
so
let's keep
shall
going
we
and keep our eyes open. Yeah.
Currently,
Well, we could look for tracks around the cart, see if they went ahead with us into the woods, things like that.
give me... Anybody can give me either an investigation check or a survival check.
There's a bloodhound.
Damn. 23 on survival. I grew up in the woods.
Alright, so, Alunodas, you're going to start taking in this scene, and you are going to start looking for, like, tracks. What you see besides, like, the tracks that you guys made from the south, you are going to see a line that was coming from this cart, and some footprints, so you think that the 3 people that you found dead were traveling north in this cart. And then all around this site, around the bodies and to the north, you are going to see multiple hoof prints and footsteps and boot prints in the dirt here. Altogether, you think there may have been anywhere from 6 to 10 people who made these prints. Judging by the different sizes of the boot prints, you think only 2 of them were probably on horseback from what you're seeing here. The hoofs look like they came from the north and they left to the north.
So, whoever did this, a group of about 6, and 2 on horseback. I wonder what that means. They came from the north and went back to the north. So, as we travel, we'll probably run into them.
Weird. I wonder if their center of operations is up north.
Wait, there was a cart. Were there any horses with the cart?
You look around and you don't see any horses or their bodies.
So, that explains why only a few were on horseback. Perhaps.
I guess we'll get back on our way.
Alright, so are you proceeding north?
Yep, cautiously.
Alright, so at this point you are about right here on the map where I'm pinging, and you're going to travel for probably about another 8 hours when it gets dark, and you make it to about right here before you have to stop and make camp for the night. again, probably you settle down, cook your dinner, set your watches. Nothing really happens that night. Is there anything anybody else wants to do?
I want to work on stay, but apparently I'm going to fail miserably.
Give me an animal handling check.
I did. It was an 8.
Yeah, he's still not getting it. Even though your DC is getting lower, your checks are getting lower.
Well, yeah, I don't imagine it would take probably like a week of working on stay for an 8 to pass. That would be my guess.
Yeah, and plus you're dividing up your time. You're reading that book too, trying to get through it, as well as Alexander trying to read through those books. Juliet, are you trying to copy down any spells?
Yes, she's gonna try and copy down another spell. How much free time do we have? Because it takes 4 hours for each of these spells.
You're probably making camp around 7 o'clock each night before it gets too dark. So depending on how late you want to stay up, plus you could probably take first watch. You could probably get a second level spell in.
Okay, yeah, then Juliet will do that and copy down detect thoughts this time.
Okay, give me a Arcana check.
17.
Yep, you look at it and it looks basically exactly like what you see in the book. So you got that spell.
Perfect.
Anybody else want to do anything tonight?
Let's see, what sort of question could we ask this Magic 8 Ball? Doesn't look like it's going to tell us anything directly about the boots.
Are there enemies in the north?
We may need to narrow that down a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, there's enemies all around you, subjectively.
Sure. Is north the best path to wherever we're going?
Is that the question you're asking?
I'm posing to the others.
Well, at this point, we're kind of limited because it's either continue north or go back to East Crossing.
We probably ask about Juliet's parents if we don't really have a good question for it.
Are there bandits on this trail?
I think we already know that they're not quite bandits.
Well, not wealthy bandits. Only have the horses they just stole.
Yeah, but they didn't even take anything off the bodies.
True. They didn't take any of the goods or money.
So we know that their motive isn't financial, so we know they're not bandits. I'm fine with just going north and we'll just see what happens when we get there.
Keep going north.
All right, so you wake up the next morning and break camp, get some breakfast, and continue north to Hollis Point, which is here. At first light, you break camp. You start moving around about 1 p.m. that day. Everybody give me a perception check.
5.
18.
Yeah, you only got 11.
Oh no, 11. I did get 11. I saw the 16, and then yours popped up. I'm done.
So, Alunodas and Alexander, as you're traveling up this path with the river to your right, you are going to see a group moving towards you, probably about 100 yards away, as they come over the top of this hill.
I offer everyone to get into the woods.
I'm in a cart. I can't really do
Oh
that.
yeah, we're bagged down. It's too much. I'll let them know that there's people ahead coming our way.
People are approaching.
I am going to cast Disguise Self and turn myself into an Elven woman.
I will transform myself to look differently.
I wonder if they'll notice that.
Cast the spells, but are you staying on the road? Or are you stopping? Or are you moving forward?
We're moving forward.
All right.
We're ready for trouble.
You probably come up about another 40 yards or so, and then you're going to see this group start moving toward you, and you're going to see a man in full armor on top of a horse start moving towards you. There appears to be another rider behind him and about a half dozen people on the ground around him. They're not like charging towards you, but they're moving at a pretty good pace.
Do they have weapons drawn?
Give me a perception check.
2.
At this distance, you really can't tell.
21.
Alexander, you would not see any weapons drawn at this point, but you can see that the people all around this man on horseback, they're wearing leather armor and appear to have like axes and swords at their back.
Okay. I go and relate this to everybody.
Armed and armored. I think these are the people who attacked the other cart.
Let's not be too hasty.
They come closer and then stop about 40 yards away from you. And the man up front on the horse in the armor raises his hand and bellows, "In the name of Arathis, halt and prepare to be judged, travelers."
Oh boy.
Not these guys.
And I think that's probably a pretty good place to stop it right there.
Aww.
Talia's got that bloodlust.
She was going to tell Abbott to be quiet.
It worked. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dungeons and Debacles podcast. If I could ask a halfling-sized favor, give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. It's the best way to support us. New episodes come out every Monday, so make sure to check your podcast app. Do you have an idea to make the podcast better? Tell us about it on Twitter or Facebook. You can also check out our website to see all the maps, lore, and characters at dungeonsanddebacklespodcast.com. And now a word from our fantasy sponsor. Want to throw hatchets? We got hatchets, and you can throw them at the hatchet throw. Bring your own hatchet or use some of ours. We don't care. We got big hatchets and small hatchets. We even have very small axes. Want to throw daggers? We don't have daggers. We have hatchets, and you can throw them inside our building. You can throw them at stumps with red circles painted on them. We also got stumps shaped like half-orcs because they are attacking us, but they don't have red circles on them. So come to the hatchet throw in downtown Asheville. We also have ale, wine, and mead. People say hatchet throwing and ale is not a good combination, but what do they know? We also have hatchets to throw, but no daggers. Hatchet throw. All right, hold on there just for a second. I've got some cats going nuts. Give me like a minute.
You can have 2.
No,
What kind of?
only one.
There can be only one. So
All right,
I
I'm back. There was
Oh.
dapple fur all over the hallway. Apparently, they got into it. I had to put Howard into timeout.
Oh no.
Are you sure it was Howard's fault?
Yes, it's always Howard's fault.
That sounds like rank bigotry. Maybe he's just been, typecast as the villain and everyone else takes advantage of that. Have you ever thought of that?
Yeah, he's Dapple's totally framing him. Yeah, that makes sense.
All cat lives matter.
The music you heard on this episode was Teller of the Tells, At Rest, Mist on the Moor, Grave Blow, and Prelude in Action by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. CreativeCommons.org/licenses/by/3.0.